Oh, hey, didn't see you there. How are you? That's great. Hey, have you heard about Blue's Clues? Blue's Clues was a children's show that premiered on Nickelodeon in 1996. It taught kids important life skills like counting, reading, and learning to share. The series spanned 10 years, 6 seasons, and 2 hosts. And after many years of being off the air, the show was brought back under the title Blue's Clues and You. So, why am I talking about this? Blue's Clues wasn't a major part of my childhood like, say, Tom's the Tank Engine, but I do remember watching it, specifically the season with Joe. When it was announced that Blue's Clues would be returning, I was fairly optimistic. My family, on the other hand, was rather skeptical. They just didn't think the end result would be any good. When the first clip of the new show came out, I was pleasantly surprised and thought the series had potential. So, I gave the show a watch. The first 10 episodes were all that was available to me, but I think that's enough to form an opinion. Blue's Clues and You is a 2019 reboot of the 1996 children's show Blue's Clues. It follows Blue and her owner Josh as they solve puzzles with assistance from the audience. The show relies on built-in pauses to get the audience to engage with the show, much like the original. The show went into production in 2017, with original creators Tracy Page Johnson and Angela Santamero spearheading the project. My initial thoughts on the show were that it was a decent successor to the original. It revives the original format and presents it in a new and interesting way. On my first viewing, I noticed a few details which I thought were fun nods to the original. However, these were more than just nods. As it turns out, all the episodes are remakes of classic episodes. Same plots, same jokes, and same clues, all just with Josh thrown in. Now, they're not shot-for-shot remakes, some differences do appear, and Josh does add his own spin to the episode. Kids aren't gonna know these are remakes, and the show's purpose is to introduce Blue's Clues to a new generation. But I will say, it does disappoint me that they are reusing old concepts. And I do hope in later seasons they start moving towards original stories. Also, it didn't feel like Blue was that involved. I was more invested in Josh than I was her, and I kept forgetting that she was even there at times. It felt weird that the title character wasn't leaving that much of an impact on me. Although, after looking at the old show, the same thing held true. I guess this is because Josh is meant to lead the discussion with the audience, asking questions and getting them to respond. Blue can't really do that, therefore more screen time is given to Josh as a result. Speaking of Josh, he was definitely the right choice for the host. Josh is played by Broadway actor Joshua Dela Cruz and was chosen by Steve himself. He is very high energy and is the right amount of charismatic for the role. Filming is done entirely on green screen with very little props to work with. I've heard stories of actors struggling on green screens, which resulted in a rather wooden performance, but Joshua did a great job. Not to mention he had help from the former host. On that note, both Steve and Joe, played by Steve Burns and Donovan Patton, make appearances in the show. Their roles are significantly reduced, but that is to not outstage Josh as the new host. As someone who grew up with the original, it was nice to see these characters come back, even if it was for a small appearance. I did some research and found out that aside from Blue, nearly every character has a new voice actor. This wasn't a huge shock to me, as the last time they played these characters was over 10 years ago. It makes sense that they'd want to get new actors. These new guys give a pretty good performance, and unless you're really listening for it, you can't tell the difference. Visually, the show looks amazing. All characters and backgrounds have been given a fresh new look. The originally flat-looking scenes now have a bit of depth, and it looks good. Things still have a homemade paper cutout look, but it's a lot more eye-pleasing now. Blue and Magenta have received the best updates by far. Originally being animated in 2D, they are now fully CGI characters. The two are a lot more expressive in both movements and emotions, although I do think they just recycled Blue's animations and gave them to Magenta. I really do prefer these looks over the originals. The show brings back all the classic songs from the original, but reimagines them. Songwriter P.T. Walkley was brought in to revise the music. The songs are fun and I imagine kids today would enjoy them, but I do prefer the originals. This is probably nostalgia speaking, but the old songs sound better. They're fun and whimsical and use an array of instruments. The new versions seem like a step down. The array of instruments are replaced with the guitar and the songs flow completely different. They have nearly identical lyrics but go at different paces. I found myself repeatedly trying to sing the original only for it not to flow with the new version. Mailtime is probably the only song I didn't have a problem with. This one flows pretty similarly to the original, and I don't think the instruments changed that much. With this in mind, the songs aren't bad, they're just different. They've definitely composed the songs with Joshua's theater background in mind, and that's to the show's benefit. So, after all that, What is my verdict on Blue's Clues and You? It's good. As I said before, it's a decent successor to the original. Sure, the music isn't as good and they are recycling episodes, but that aside, Josh's performance is pretty entertaining, and the original spirit of Blue's Clues is still there. The series has already been renewed for 2 more seasons, which means Nick clearly has faith in the show. I'm curious to see how far this show will go. If you have any small children around, I'm sure this is something they'd enjoy, and if you've got to watch it with them, you'll probably get some enjoyment from it, especially if you grew up with the original. Alright, this is where I'm going to end my review of Blue's Clues and You. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I thank you for watching. I'll see you guys later.